So you want to have an amazing trip, whether you're chilling on the beach, taking a boat trip, climbing a mountain. It's scary what can go wrong when you least expect it. Insurance feels like the most tedious, boring and stressful thing to organise, yet it's the most important part of any trip.
It really is. Insurance can feel like you're paying for absolutely nothing until you lose everything. Just don't be that person who doesn't get travel insurance.
There are so many companies and all that small print. I mean, who has time for that, especially as parents? And then all these horror stories kicking around on the internet, it can just feel overwhelming and tempting to go cheap. But please don't do that. We used to do that and would never do it again.
Never again. We've been traveling for 10 years. It's amazing how awful some insurance companies are. Whatever it is you're doing, we've had a go at it all, and we now know how to get the best insurance.
So we're going to teach you what a good policy looks like, what things should it include, and we're going to teach you to make sure that your policy covers you for the things you actually want to do. And we're also going to share with you that one most important thing that many travel insurers don't include.
Oh, and we're also going to make sure that you know how to make them pay out, because that's the one big thing that they try to scramble out of. So we've had a lot of practice on making insurers pay out. So stay tuned.
Because it's on. Ooh, ooh, keep my fingers crossed. Oh yeah, it's on. Ooh.
Hey, so we're the Backpacking Family. I'm Emma.
I'm Pete.
And we're super excited to have you. Thank you for dropping by. Please hit that subscribe button. We're not new to travel, been traveling for 10 years, but we are new to YouTube. But we've already got some great videos out there if you want to check those out. Every single week, at least every single week, on a Sunday, we'll be releasing new videos. So make sure you guys are watching.
So we've had stuff nicked, we've had serious injuries, we've been in hospital, we've even been shipwrecked and stranded miles off the coast of Panama. It's absolutely terrifying. But all of this brings home the importance of good travel insurance.
So what are you going to include to make sure you've got the right policy for you? Okay, number one is medical. That is super important.
£10,000 might sound like loads of money, but really, when it comes to medical insurance, it is zilch. You need to be looking millions of pounds, £5 million plus on medical.
Seriously, so check that when you're going through, make sure you've got at least 5 million, but then check the excess for the things you're likely to claim on, because some ramp up the excess. That's the bit of money you pay before you claim. Make sure you check that your excesses are low, especially on this next one, which is things that you might lose or damage, your property, whether that's your backpack completely going missing, your phone just going missing. Sometimes we feel like we're pretty much a walking disaster, but natural disasters also have to be included, and some try to get out of it as an act of God. So make sure that your policy includes natural disasters too.
A good insurance policy should also cover curtailment, which basically means your trip has been cut short for whatever reason, not your fault, you have to return home, and great insurers will often cover the cost of your flights home, and they'll also cover the cost of any accommodation you've missed. A good insurer will cover the cost of missed flights, trip cancellation, even delays. Another thing that you really need to check on your insurance policy, if you're doing family travel, are your kids covered? And if so, how many dependents are covered? A good insurer will cover loads of dependents. That's one of the reasons we love World Nomads. Sorry for the plug there, but it's a great insurer. So we mentioned the one most important thing that all insurers should include. It's called repatriation. And I can't emphasise how important it is to make sure that is in your travel insurance policy. Basically, if you have a serious accident or injury when you're overseas, thousands of miles from your loved ones, and you need special medical transport back to your own country, a good insurer will offer what's called repatriation cover, and they cover the cost for that. And there are so many sad stories out there of people who had accidents or injuries, weren't properly covered, and their family and friends just can't afford to get them back to their home country. Don't be one of those people.
So how do you avoid your claims being denied?
Tip number one, photograph everything. Boarding passes, flight tickets, receipts, doctor's reports, medical reports, police reports, a whole lot. Even the things in your bag, you'll need it. It's a paperwork trail for when you make your claim.
So important. Tip number two, think before you drink. Not every policy includes if you're drunk. In fact, most of them, if you've had a drink, they'll avoid your policy completely. But if you want that drink when you're on holiday or backpacking or whatever it is you're going to get up to, make sure you're insured for it.
Tip number three, make sure you know what medical conditions are not covered by your policy. Typically things like dental, pregnancy, and any pre-existing conditions won't be covered in your policy. And make sure you definitely declare any pre-existing conditions. That's really important because sometimes insurers can wriggle out of paying simply because you've not declared a pre-existing condition, even if it's not relevant to your claim.
They're such sneaky rats. Okay, tip number 4, communication is key. So if you're going to do anything different to what you think you might be planning to do, make sure that you've told them. So if you're going to go home early for some reason, make sure that you're covered and it doesn't invalidate your insurance. If you have one of those horrible accidents you don't want to have, get in touch straight away. Communication is key.
Tip number 5, stick to the deadlines for claims. This is really important. You can open the case when you're on the road, but make sure you make your claim as soon as you can when you get back, because often insurers will have deadlines that you need to claim by after you've returned to your home country.
So true. And tip number 6, get your policy early. Some sneaky companies put the price up closer to the time that you leave. Except World Nomads. We love World Nomads. I'm just gonna bash out some of the companies I don't like right now because they weren't very kind to me. So Insure and Go, no surprises, weren't actually that good with us. And True Traveller, despite their lovely name, really let us down. So we go with World Nomads. They are a little bit more, but they are so worth it. And the reason I came across them was I was already in Cambodia, living out there, running out of insurance. World Nomads were the only ones that would insure me whilst I was on the road. So that's really handy. You can top up it anytime, you can initiate it anytime. So that's really worth knowing.
Tip number 7, get covered for all your countries. Even if you're just transiting through countries, it's important to make sure your policy covers all of those countries. And also be careful, worldwide policy sometimes excludes certain more obscure countries. So check what countries are covered, especially if you're going to some more edgy places.
And tip number 8, make sure you're covered for all your activities. If you're going to be lovely and go volunteering, making sure that you're covered for such activities that are classed as work is really important. So if you're up a ladder, certain heights will have restrictions. If you're trekking, altitude restrictions, make sure that wherever you're trekking to, that you're insured to that altitude. If you're doing things like jumping off bridges or boarding of any description, things like that, which are really good fun, aren't always necessarily included. Again, this is why we love World Nomads. You get your basic policy, and they have a slightly higher tier policy, and then you can actually add on specific activities, so you know you're insured if you want to go rock climbing or whatever it is. You can get insured specifically for that activity.
Tip number 9, check before you buy. Make sure you get in touch with your insurer, ask any questions you have about what's covered, what's included in your policy, and make sure you do it by email rather than just calling, and then you've got something to refer back to later if you need to bring up any issues. In the end of the day, travel insurance is just all about having peace of mind when you travel.
It's also about being covered for heinous accidents and other very important things. So, who do we recommend? You've probably gathered we love World Nomads. We've been through far too many cheap and expensive, awful companies, and we just love them and we won't go with anyone else. This is not a sponsored post, we do actually just love them, they're amazing. But if you know any good insurers that have really genuinely helped you out, do let us know in the comment section below and let other people know which are the good ones out there.
And also, if you yourself have had to make a travel insurance claim, let us know what happened and how did your claim go. Drop it in the comments below.
And if you put up with us this long, please hit that subscribe button. Please don't forget to hit that before you go. I hope this has been helpful. And you know what? If you love travel as much as we do, we're going to see you again.
So your policy sheet, So your policy sheet,